All right, guys, welcome to Marketing on the Rocks. This is our second week doing it, and we're really excited. And today we're actually going to be talking about dropshipping. That is actually that before I started working for Corner Marketer was pretty new to me, and I didn't know that it was a thing. So,
It's a crazy world. I mean, everything can be drop shipped. So it's pretty cool. I can't wait to talk about it.
all right, let's pour a drink.
Yeah.
What are you drinking today?
I am, man, I think I said this earlier to you, Andres. Like, I kind of finish one bottle at a time. It's probably not a good thing. But maybe for this show, it's actually a good thing because we can try and do different things a little bit quicker going about it that route. So yeah, I'm drinking the same as last week. I'm doing the Irish whiskey. Why do I forget? See, I am so bad with names. I should have kept my bottle up, but I kept it downstairs.
Conor McGregor. Yeah.
Conor McGregor's. Yep.
I
Yeah,
think
we're doing Conor McGregor's
it's something
12.
22, right? Yeah, I think.
Let's give the guy credit because he probably is drop shipping this in one form or fashion. So let's see, what is it called? I'm gonna just double check so we can make sure.
Proper 12. That's
That's
what it
it.
is. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. I
Yep.
got
Proper
some
12.
Angels and Envy. I The first time I tried this was actually with Mr. Greg, so it's pretty good.
Nice. That is awesome.
Cool. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
So drop shipping.
Drop shipping. It's funny because I think some people always think of drop shipping as China.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the first thing that most people think about, right? Like, Alibaba. Um, and it started out that way. I think, especially when Shopify came out, which is interesting because they actually were a drop shipping company themselves in the beginning. Do you know the Shopify story?
No, actually.
Okay. It's interesting. They're out of Ottawa, they're in Canada, and they were basically a provider of ski equipment. And I don't even know what skiing is around Ottawa. I know that Vermont has some, and like Montreal and Quebec do, but they were drop shipping ski equipment in one form or fashion. Basically, in this case, they weren't carrying any of their own inventory, and any inventory that they did have in their brick and mortar shop, it was not their own, right? Like they were wholesaling it, right? Like they bought it from some other supplier, and they kind of had the shop just because it's an outfitter. So someone's getting outfitted for skiing somewhere, but everything else was being shipped online in one form or fashion. So when Shopify came out, I think a lot of these different plugins started to come into play. And, being a ski company that started going into e-commerce, they wanted to find the simplest solution for drop shipping any sort of product line, whatever industry, whatever vertical you're looking at. They created this platform that's now a multi-billion-dollar company based
That's
off of
awesome.
just getting product out to people through a web platform. So that's just this little side story, but yeah, I mean, drop shipping is basically something that you don't have to carry in your own, hands, right? Like in your own like location, in your brick and mortar spot, or in your house, in your closet. You don't have to actually fulfill or hold these products in your, in your physical place. It could be in a warehouse somewhere, and all you got to do is kind of be the middleman. You got to basically make sure that the orders are being taken care of, fulfill it, which is really just by hitting a button, and wherever that product is being located is then white labeled because it's going to say your return address, right? But it's going to be they're taking care of the actual fulfillment of that product. We're not having to do anything else with that. So yeah, that's the idea of dropshipping.
And I mean, it's a really cool model, and I feel like still to a degree now is still a bit of a dirty word. When
It
people
is.
talk about
Yeah.
drop shipping.
Yep.
But I don't think it should be. I mean, if you're looking for a way to just, either build a business or just have some passive income on the side, I think it's a great thing to look into.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you would really, I think it will take a lot of time and kind of an uphill battle if you were going to say this is your only source of income.
Mhm.
So you should always kind of consider it a supplementary type of element, right? In general. So like I think, look at drop shipping. Let's just use a personal trainer as an example. Not everyone that is going to be watching this is going to be in a personal trainer, but I'll give a whole bunch of different ones. But this one specifically, let's just say you have your whole client base and they are recommending a pre-workout, or they want a recommendation on a pre-workout, and that this particular formula just works. A lot of the companies that are creating these different formulas of whatever it may be, supplements in this case, are going to probably on the bottom of their website footer like strictly have it on there that they are willing to essentially white label or package their product into something else, and kind of give that formula to any PT out there that you can kind of create your own brand with. So use it as a way to keep yourself in the ecosystem of your customer in a way.
Mhm.
Just tie in all these different drop shipping products that you don't have to really do much with. You just got to say, oh, I got a product for that. It makes you look cooler already, right? Like a PT, a physical trainer that actually has its own brand gives you a little bit of star power already as well. So that's a benefit. They keep buying from you. You can set it up in a subscription model so they can have it delivered every 30 days because that's usually when the stuff runs out. And you don't have to do much. You don't have to do anything really. You just got to just keep telling people about it and send them to your website.
Mhm. And I feel like a lot of YouTubers have been, at the forefront of drop
Yeah.
shipping, especially
Yep.
makeup ones. I feel like that's really their end game, which I mean, good for
Yep.
them.
Yeah. I mean, I think every YouTuber, or let's just even put it, every content creator that has a channel, even us, we should have a drop ship of just a tire at the very minimal, right? Like, and it doesn't matter if you're going to get, even one sale or two sales of it a month. I don't think it should matter at all. It just gives visibility. So it's all marketing, it's all branding. So, at least then you can basically say that, hey, run a contest, do a freebie for your content, your giveaway that you have for your show, and just send them a free promo code. They can go choose what they want instead of you sending something that they might not really like, whether it's a, I don't know, a water bottle or a tchotchke in some format. Let them choose some kind of, attire that is branded for your show, and you don't have to do anything. All you got to do is just drop your logo on it, make sure it looks cool, and the drop shipper will take care of the rest. We'll have it delivered to them. So yeah, I think every YouTuber definitely on it.
And I think it kind of goes back to, what we talked about a little bit last week, that omnipresence approach to
Mm-hmm.
market, that we're kind of going into that route, that you have to have a product, you have to have something else. You can't just focus on one thing.
Yeah, and you can't, again, you just can't think of it as a profitability perspective. I mean, you can mark these things up. It could be a supplement, it could be a t-shirt, it doesn't matter. There's drop shipping services for everything. So you can make a little bit off of it, but it's not, your business. It's not your overall goal of your business. It's just branding for your business in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you do it that way, it really just, I guess, goes down to like how you set your purpose. I don't think you should look at drop shipping as like your main focal point. The people that do that, they're putting all of their eggs in that basket. They're putting every single thing out there and coming up with new things every time. So that's up to you, but just make sure that the intention, I guess, is right for any drop shipping product that you have in general.
And how long ago do you think the concept of dropshipping came about?
I would say, man, that I guess we got to go look at Alibaba's website or go to Wikipedia real quick and see, because I think they really probably put it on the map. I'm gonna actually do the same. And that's why I think a lot of people kind of put drop shipping with Jack Ma and China all kind of combined, and it's not really the case. Like
99.
1999. Yeah, he's born in 1964, and he came up with the product or the website in 1999. So, yeah, about 21 years, 22 years. But it's definitely picked up. I agree with what you brought up a little bit earlier, but after YouTube, it's been picking up even more as YouTube is becoming more and more bigger. It definitely picked up, since Shopify as well. So I think around 2006, 2007, somewhere around there. That was probably like its first, first round of growth, right? So like from 1999 to 2007, it was still an elusive word. Then Shopify came in and everyone was talking about like Oberlo as an app that's tied in with Alibaba's like sister company, AliExpress. So I think that actually kind of gave it a bit of a negative vibe in a way, because I think people started thinking dropship meaning it's going to take ages for that product to actually come here, and it's going to be inferior. It's going to be like, a piece of plastic.
Right. And we've gotten to the point where it's really not. You can send out some really high quality stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You can send out some really high quality stuff. You can get almost every North American brand now has some sort of white label or dropship element. So I think it's just going to get more and more widely available. And as Amazon keeps perfecting FBA, which to be clear should not be kind of connected the same way as completely a drop shipping service. Like FBA, which is fulfillment by Amazon, in theory is exactly like drop shipping, right? Like Amazon's doing the drop ship, but drop shipping is actually from the manufacturer versus you holding that product. So Amazon is not a drop shipper. If you want to do an FBA Amazon type of business, you have to have that inventory on hand, buy it first, and Amazon's the middleman that's going to send it to your customer. But that means you still have to have all that infrastructure or that inventory bought before you drop ship it. So yeah, I want to make sure that everyone thinks that Amazon is not a drop shipping type of business. So if you're going to look at the FBA program, for example, that's definitely not a drop shipping mentality, or should not be thought about it in the same mentality as all these other supplement or t-shirt, anything. I mean, furniture, to be honest. But the definition should be from the manufacturer is going to be actually sending it out for you on your behalf without their name on the the packaging, versus more of the wholesale route, which is really what Amazon FBA is. It's like you're buying a whole bunch of inventory and then sending it, which is not what we're talking about today.
Yeah. I mean, it's such an interesting concept, and the fact that what you mentioned of all the major brands now having some sort of something in place for people to be able to drop ship from them goes back to what we talked about, Conor McGregor.
Yep.
Giving publicity to that whiskey brand.
Yeah, I think drop shipping. 1 second, man. I'm going to actually just turn the sound down because I don't know if you can hear the volume or not. But sorry guys if you can or not. But yeah, so I think drop shipping should be more tied in with white labeling. because it is a little bit more of a white label connection versus what FBA stands for, or doing the whole wholesale element. So I think what Conor McGregor would be doing, and we can actually just look him up real quick and just make sure, so we're not talking things that aren't completely accurate. But I think this is, without me even looking him up, I think this is exactly what he is doing. So it's Proper 12. And in his case, it is actually part of a different. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta actually put my date of birth into this website because it's alcohol. Sorry. And it's interesting, but just a great looking site, but it's just all branded. That's all it is. If you go into the footer though, it is, 8 Born Spirits. So, and it is being imported, so it is an actual Irish whiskey, so that's great. So it ties in with his brand because he is Irish, and he is definitely proud of it, in one form or fashion. But in his case, all he's done is, really just come up with a really solid looking logo. And the whiskey itself is not, the company that is behind Proper 12, or the actual production of it, is not anything to do with him. And I'm just double checking to see if the company Ireborn Spirits has any ownership with Conor McGregor, and I'm pretty sure it won't, but let's just double check. Well, it's actually owned by Jose Cuervo. This whiskey brand is owned by Tequila brand. That's so freaking funny. And that does have, so the brand itself does have some ownership with Conor McGregor. So he does have shares in the company, which I think is fine. I mean, it makes sense. If he's a power player, so he's got his brand name on it. He does have 29%. But he's definitely not, having a whole team producing this stuff in Ireland. I mean, it is definitely a white labeled, coming out of essentially of a brewery, or in this case, a distillery, in one form or fashion. So it's the same idea. It doesn't have to look like it's a dropship. This doesn't, but everything, can be branded to not look like it's dropshipped at all. Wayfair is another example. Wayfair is a dropshipper. They're not, they have gotten into the perspective of like an FBA type of setup, but they started out where they were just, going directly to the suppliers in North Carolina for all the furniture, and wherever else in the US, at least North Carolina is like the big one, and just basically saying, look, we're going to come up with this new furniture company, and we'll like you to ship it. I'm guessing that it probably has something to do with the freight. It's kind of expensive to ship freaking furniture. So, might as well just have the supplier handle it.
Right. And, everybody wins. Like, you can make some money out of your brand. The supplier sells more.
Right.
There's really no, at least that I can see, downside to drop shipping. Have you seen anything there?
I think, again, it was an issue if it's kind of a customer service, or like the product is inferior element, right? Like, but it's starting to, like, the market is kind of taking care of itself, right? Like, like a lot of that is just not, becoming as much of an issue, because the companies that were just providing inferior product are going out of business, or the companies that were shipping from China, for example, are kind of putting their own US-based warehouses to speed up, the whole life cycle, or the shipping cycle in general. Because, people were pretty annoyed back in the day about, things from China parcel post taking forever to come in. So I
Hmm.
think a lot of that's been solved. But the biggest, I think, downside would be just that, you gotta do your due diligence in a way on how that product is, manufactured, and can you stand behind it.
Hmm.
Um, and you'll have to understand that most of the time, like customer service for this is going to be just refund. Yeah, you're not sitting there and arguing with the customer because you don't have your hand in actually manufacturing a product here. So just refund them, and either, quite frankly, have that delivered back to you if you have a drop shipping agreement that allows you to send back defective or items that the customer just doesn't like, or just eat the cost and move on. That's why it's really meant to be a supplementary item, a side, maybe a side hustle per se, but I mean, companies should be looking into drop shipping more and more.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't say
And
side hustle, side product line for sure.
yeah, and I mean, small companies should be looking into sending like having a drop shipping product, and then the bigger companies really should be advertising drop shipping with them. For
Right.
small, yeah.
The bigger companies should be, I mean, I guess it just depends on the industry, but everything could be quote unquote drop shipped, right? So let's just say it's a bigger um, consulting firm, which is definitely not a manufacturing type of product, right? It's a service. They can still drop ship services, i.e., even what you and I kind of do. Like we can have components of our own business that can be fulfilled by someone else, and we get to control the conversation and everything else, but it can be drop shipped. So there's another element to drop shipping, which is actually drop shipping services
So let's
as
talk
well.
about that for a little bit,
Yeah.
because I think that's an interesting concept, and it's something that I don't think has seen as much light, but I think it will in the next couple of years, just
Yep.
because a lot of you know companies overall are going away from the agency style.
Yep.
It's no more madman. You have this huge office and this huge team working on this project. It's a lot more small services as a supplement for the in-house marketing team. you know
Yeah. So you kind of have to, when you think of dropship, you have to think of products. So even if you're doing services, your services need to be product style, because you can't sit there and have multiple meetings with the client. You can't, have that, whatever, that other company that you're working with, if you are the end provider, right? Like the drop ship servicer that's actually providing the service for another company who is drop shipping or drop shipping servicing, right, to you. You don't want to be spending a lot of time. It's just got to be like a ticket, deliver the item, and move on. So with that being said, the best way of looking at drop shipping services is you got to first find a way to take your service offerings. If you're Deloitte, as an example, if you have a whole line of items that are kind of like offshoots of your RFP, right? Like we can bring up marketing because we're in it, but like, maybe some part of it is like ad creation or branding per se, or even just getting like articles written for yourself. Like those are all items that can be easily drop shipped by a smaller entity, and then Deloitte doesn't need to go hire those employees, so they're more profitable in general. So we don't have to only look at it from the marketing element. Yeah, the management companies do it all the time. I mean, it's kind of subcontracting. That's literally what it is.
Mhm.
But instead of it being overtly advertised that it's a subcontractor, they're just white labeling, um, these contractors, these providers, for the products that they want to purchase, and directly paying them out, and kind of a la carte menu style, finding product lines that work. So That's a good example there. The other one is like Cisco, for example, right? They have a whole network of partners that are selling their product, right? Like they got, you know, all kinds of crazy bridges and routers and all that stuff. But you don't really go to Best Buy to buy Cisco's product. So, you know, what they've done is they're allowing their partners to have stores on their website, and they, being Cisco, are drop shipping that product. So the person that's, you know, a local business that wants to go buy from their local tech, you know, servicer, their IT provider, they can go in and buy that Cisco router, and that IT provider doesn't have to do anything. They can just have it shipped. But you can now stack values on top of it. So like, let's just say you're that tech provider. You can stack your own protection plan or servicing plan or even installs based on that. So I think that's why, again, like, yeah, drop shipping really adds multiple ways to stay connected with your consumer, with your customer in general. And, you know, your money might actually be made on just the servicing of that delivered product or even that delivered service after the fact. So let that product get delivered to them. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to like actually sit there and you know, actually fulfill that particular product. But by all means, if you're skilled, your labor or your company is like got a really skilled set of, you know, servicing all these different things, or, you know, creating networks, by all means connected to a, you know, a equipment protection or an equipment service, you know, plan in general that could be done by employee or not even by device. Like you can actually, you know, kind of serve up the cost of that product, that servicing plan, by employee. So every head, every person could have a cost, like per seat. And the product that you're actually delivering is actually not even something that you yourself has manufactured or created. So
Hmm.
you're just doing the servicing element after.
And nobody wants to go to multiple places to
Right.
get everything they need. So if
Yep.
you're able to have that product or whatever it is for your service to, you know, get done in one place, and you are able to add the prices for your services, you know, people are going to be much happier because they don't have to go to 2 different places, 3 different places, because none of us want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same idea of Amazon being the superstore for everything. But like, we can give you a local example, right? We have this, you know, we live in Rockville, and we have a site that is sponsored by the city that want, you know, that's set up in a way for like all the local businesses to uh, yeah, advertise in a way, and also to kind of, you know, kind of playing off the Amex shop small. Uh, they're um, they're basically a marketplace for you to buy from like the local vendors that are in your local city. So you could have even a marketplace set up for your own business and have all your vendors, or in this case, the city has a marketplace, and all the local businesses are the vendors that are still going to drop ship. And quite frankly, they're going to get paid out right away because it's kind of a pass through. But you don't need to, you can kind of collectively put your marketing budgets into like that program instead of going to the individual store that then has to go create a whole bunch of ads and all this like branding behind it to get their product out. They can actually literally just sell on larger marketplaces and get just as much revenue coming in or more without having as much expense. So it actually does allow collective bargaining as well.
Hmm. And you know, it's one of those things that why not use those bigger marketplaces? Why not use that traffic that is already there?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of clients, they want to build everything from scratch, but at the end of the day, it takes so much time. It takes, you know, to get that traction going and get really big. where you can just, hitch your wagon to somebody a little bit bigger. And yeah, once you get to that level, by all means, open your own, store or whatever it is you want to do. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. No,
we'll
I
see when the
totally
time.
agree.
Yeah.
It's almost like we got to get people to understand that like the typical purchase of new product for your business, right? Like, and what I mean by that, like, going in and saying, oh, I need to go create a new website and this and that is actually kind of backwards. Like, yeah, I think um, Amazon in this case is not really truly a drop shipper. So you would want to have some inventory that you're sending to Amazon for that model. But eBay, as an example, Walmart actually is another one because Walmart's marketplace is becoming huge for the drop shipping world. You can get your product on all of that if you're more of a B2C kind of customer, and then you kind of let that kind of foster, and then you set up the Amazon store, and then you do your own after. But all of these different companies, yeah, they all have they've spent the time and effort to kind of get the checkout process and the legitimacy. So like people trust them. So ride that coattail instead of you creating something from scratch where you have to first build all that touch points for the trust before they can go in and buy something from you.
Hmm.
So yeah, drop shipping takes care of a lot of that for you. What does it hurt? I know you brought that up before, but what is drop shipping killing is an interesting component. I think what it does hurt is something that we can't really control anymore. I think the damage is done. It's like the malls and the shopping centers, because everything is now, the person that is benefiting the most is probably the shippers, right? Like the FedEx to UPS, maybe the USPS, but they got their own problems. So yeah, like FedEx to UPS, like they're all benefiting off of it. So I think yeah, the only people that are really hurting from drop shipping are the big box stores in a way.
Yeah, but
But what can we do,
they,
man?
yeah, and they have also their own problems with that. I mean, when was the last time you, not only because of COVID, but even before that, when was the last time you went to a mall before looking in Amazon? You know, first
Yeah,
place we usually go to, it's Amazon when we're looking for something.
right. I think the only people that have done somewhat of a better job at this is if you start thinking about actually being a big box retailer that's drop shipping as well and turning your, cutting down on your infrastructure for your whole company where you have a lot of real estate, you don't need as much, but turning in showrooms. Because I mean, I know for a fact I've done a lot of what you just said, right? Like going to Amazon to buy electronics as an example. And I could buy it from Amazon or I can buy it from any other site that drop ships. But Best Buy has become kind of a showroom for me. I
Mm-hmm.
will go in and see a product there first. So I think I think if you were to look at, even if you're a small business, if you start making your office more of a showroom, have them kind of experience more, talk about how you service that product, that's still a beneficial item instead of you actually making that back office be, more of an issue, right? Like, you don't have to have a storefront, but a showroom per se, where all the product is just not even in the same state, it doesn't need to be, at least helps improve your customer experience. So drop shipping actually can be correlated with showrooms pretty well.
Well, and let's talk about the Indochino model. So for you
Yeah.
guys that don't know, Indochino is a made-to-measure company that make suits for men and women, and that's actually where I get most of my suits from. I have a weird body type, so I need to get stuff custom made. But they don't have, you can't buy anything at the store. It's not like Suit Supply where you can grab it off the rack. You can go in and get measured, and but you can also do it online, and you just go in and look at the fabrics, and they change it with every season, and they have showrooms. I want to say they got like probably 25 to 50 worldwide.
Yep.
but they started as a completely online company.
Right. And their showrooms are kind of cool, right? Like you
Hmm.
can actually experience, so you've created a customer experience that is awesome, that requires less um, manpower in general. So you can give more, attention to detail with the customer, which I really do like about Chino as well. And yeah, like every time a new season comes out, there's always new swatches coming out. So they can put more of their R&D money into that kind of stuff instead of just literally being a supplier or literally a warehouse, because that's what's happening right now. A lot of these companies that are not going this dropship model are becoming warehouses of product that they can't even push anymore. So
Hmm.
yeah, like don't even worry about it. That all of those elements, just start finding products that kind of correlate, so you can kind of tell a story for your own business. And there you go. Like, you don't need it to be a complete correlation where it's like, you can literally connect the dots between A and B. Um, you can literally find different solutions or different products that just complement your own business and run with it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting.
it is. Yeah. Um, for me, the supplement world probably is the most interesting component out of it, just because you can do the subscriptions.
Hmm.
So I like that particular fact. I think you can create, you know, um, doctor kind of patient relationships and do referrals, or, provider or doctor, like physician referral codes. You can do kind of affiliate programs and still not have to worry about your own product again, as well as keep your advertising costs down. You can literally create like a whole man-made or local referral program where all the doctors are selling your supplement, or even a medical element, right? Like, I mean, I wouldn't say prescription per se, but some of them actually get down to prescription grade from that level. And there's obviously CBD elements with this as well. Uh, but the biggest one, and I'm happy to share this after the fact, after we get this video up, Andres, for this week. But we can, yeah, I can actually, I'm pretty sure, have like a list of all the US based um, drop shippers. And I think that's a big one because most people still have this like stigma of drop ship means China. And there's literally a drop shipper for every single vertical out there right now
Hmm.
in general. Yeah. Um, Here's a kind of a crazy one that I don't think anyone really thinks about, but it's kind of cool. What do you do now on Facebook? Like even yourself?
Um, I mean, I just kind of scroll every now and then, but I'm barely on Facebook unless it's for work.
Right. I am the same way, except for one thing that I think is actually growing on Facebook. I think a lot of Facebook is kind of slowly kind of dying. But the big one is still Marketplace.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like people are buying stuff on that Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, half
Um,
my living room. Yeah.
yeah,
Teresa spent a lot of time there.
yeah. It's crazy though when you go look at freaking Facebook Marketplace now. They've opened it up so you don't have to be a private seller. It doesn't have to be like you and I selling a secondhand product anymore. I'm on Facebook Marketplace right now and I'm seeing my search trends. I'm going to stop. But yeah, like you don't have to have like a secondhand item on Facebook Marketplace. You can actually sell brand new things on Marketplace now, and you can drop ship all of that. So for the guys that are looking to kind of find kind of hidden um, traffic sources per se, that you might not think about, like you can literally have your supplement, your coffee, if you're a coffee brand that's drop shipping, whatever it is, you can have all of that now on Facebook Marketplace. And you still don't need to have someone come to your house. right? Because they've opened it up for you can ship nationwide on Facebook Marketplace now. Have your listings out there. Again, you're not holding any of your products. No one's coming to your house. No one's talking to you. But when they buy it, it's literally being created as a ticket that's being fulfilled by the vendor that's your drop shipper supplier.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
lots
how
to
would you
think
set
about on
that
that.
up? Yeah. So how would you set that up? Would you put in a Shopify and then fulfill it yourself, or how would you, like, if you were to do that, if you were to go that route?
So if you were to go that route, yeah, you would want to create a Shopify or a big commerce store. Shopify store is probably what I would recommend. You would then install the Facebook app for that sales channel. Right now, the Facebook sales channel on Shopify is kind of being retired. And what I mean by that, it's more of the clickable posts that have a little shopping bag on them that you can actually buy and directly add it to your cart. That part's being removed, but there's an API connection between Facebook Marketplace. There's an actual different sales channel for a marketplace. So you add your product into Shopify, you can keep it as a separate store, and then you can just literally check off the marketplace one sales channel, and it'll create you a product listing for that product that you want to have out there, and just go about it from that particular perspective. I mean, you can, and when they buy it, they're buying it from Facebook then, right? Like, they're checking out on Facebook. And then, all you do is you see your email notification with that order come in. Facebook is still sending that notification to your supplier as well, and they'll then ship that out to that customer.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that
Yeah.
integration was around.
Yep. There was there's an interesting once a year program that some people might have heard about, but they have to know a little bit of like internet marketing to kind of get to it. It's called the Kibo system.
Okay.
And I'm gonna pull it up because it's kind of crazy. It's kind of like the superstore model, right? So you're basically kind of creating drop shipping products that kind of run the gamut. It doesn't have to do with anything. It's the Kibo code. That's the name of it. And what the Kibo code is, and again, it's just a fancy name for drop shipping. So anyone that's out there that's looking at Kibo code, it's great, but it's not necessary. Yeah, you might be able to find some of the more profitable elements, but there's some pretty cool apps and integrations that allow you to kind of do that on your own, instead of doing it this particular model. And the way that these guys that came out with the Kibo code started looking at things is in Japan, there's kind of like this like superstore, which has a really interesting name, and I forget the name of it. I'm going to find it now, just because it's tied together.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yes, yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm going to find it first. I'm just going to find you an image of what this store looks like in Japan. So give me 1 sec. I'm going to find it. Then I'll share my screen there. Man, why do I forget the name of it? Superstore. It's like a marketplace. And when you see it, you'll be like, okay, this is crazy. Kibo. You know what, man? We might just put this in as a link if I can't find it in like a second.
All right, we'll put that into the description so you guys can look at it.
Yeah, we'll put it into a description for sure. Yeah, but Aiden Booth and Steve Clayton came up with this like 8-week program, right? And yeah, there's not really anything to see right now. So yeah, I'll put it in as a link. But the idea about it is it's, again, this like superstore model, right? And you don't want your website to look like this like free-for-all of all this different product. So you don't need to do it that route. You can actually have all your products be, again, on Facebook Marketplace, I mean, if you want to kind of go funny, you can actually even go down to like Craigslist and stuff like that. But I'm not saying we do that. That's kind of sketch in a way. But all the product can live on different marketplaces and be fulfilled by multiple different dropshippers. And then your game isn't really finding, which dropshipper you want to work with. It's really just finding whatever new niche or product you want to touch, right? Like you want to hit. If you remember back in the day, cell phone cases was one of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, you keep finding those different fads, and you can use the social channels for your own benefit for that product that might be coming out of China, might be coming out of the US. It doesn't matter. There's multiple vendors now, but they're all open to drop shipping because it does mean more sales for them in the end.
Right.
So yeah, there's so many different models you can do. It's going to bother me, but I will find it and I'll make sure that we have it in the description. But that is that Kibo method, where it's more that superstore method of drop shipping.
Mm-hmm.
I think per se that's not as business friendly because it could kind of look bad from the imaging of your business. But definitely a really good side hustle if you don't want to have any of it out there on an actual website. Use Facebook Marketplace, find out every single product that's kind of trendy, drop ship them all and not even touch them, just kind of roll, sit back and just kind of collect the money at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's so many opportunities I think in drop shipping right now. Yeah, I mean, alcohol to everything. So it's kind of cool. I think you can kind of spend a lot of time on, finding that right, source. But once you find that right source and you've tested the product, like you shouldn't spend too much time trying to, perfect the store, and just get the product listing out. And the other benefit of drop shipping in general is you don't have to go create the marketing material. So like the descriptions of the product and everything that's out there, it's just readily available, and you kind of have the rights to actually copy it because you're using the product. So yeah, lots of fun stuff on dropshipping.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Trying to think if there's any kind of like creative different way that we could kind of show this, but I think what we can do is probably showcase some of these in like screen demos and put them in the description after, guys. And once we do that, you guys can kind of see some, in action drop shipping. I mean, I'm sure you guys have all seen it, but just how easy it is to kind of get a new product line for your own business. That kind of idea, I think we can actually kind of go in and showcase after, more on a screen share kind of setup.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man.
All right.
I don't know what else you got, but yeah, we'll call this the drop shipping conversation. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this drink, and I hope you do as well. And cheers to the Friday coming up and the weekend. And
cheers.
See you guys next week.
See you guys next week.